Good afternoon, Osaka.
Grüß Gott, ein herzliches Willkommen aus Salzburg, aus Österreich. We are
Manuela.
and Christoph Schlick.
And we say hello from Salzburg, the city where Mozart was born, as many of you know, and his music is alive, and where the hills of the surrounding Alps just behind us, but you can't see, are alive with the sound of music.
Salzburg is also the birthplace of an institute of logotherapy, which I was allowed to found 24 years ago, that promotes meaning in life, healing through meaning, as Viktor Frankl said, and which brings together people from all the German-speaking countries, especially from Austria, but also Germany, Switzerland, northern Italy, who want to practice or to learn first logotherapy in various forms and formats. This institute is called Sinn Zentrum, Center for Meaning, and we were able to educate and teach more or about 2,000 people in different levels in logotherapy, in the ideas of Viktor Frankl, and in our positive burning for these ideas.
We've gone international today with you, but since 2019 we also present our research and our work at international conferences, and we now run also international research projects. And today we want to share our experiences, as you could already see, our passion and some ideas, very concrete ideas, from our practice, our research and our lives with you. For our contribution, we chose the title Empowering People to find meaning, orientation, and the will to act in a disoriented world. Just as sustainable societies, which you explore in Osaka and the World Exhibition, just as sustainable societies require inner orientation, every individual, you, me, Christoph, we need inner orientation too. And logotherapy offers a lot of knowledge, a lot of evidence, and a lot of very practical advice to discover such inner orientation within ourselves. We do not have to look far, we do not have to study it seriously, we have to live, we have to listen to our intuition, to our emotions, we should experience, sometimes quite consciously that helps, but let us explain in some detail. I begin. As logotherapists, we believe that every human being strives for meaning in their lives, and that every person, consciously or unconsciously, wants to live their full potential. Yes, that might seem and sound a little overwhelming and a little weird. And I would like to quote a US-American author and spiritual teacher, which moved me a lot. Her name is Marianne Williamson, and she says, "Sometimes we are afraid, but not of how small or how unimportant we are, as we might think, but actually we can be afraid of how powerful we are, of how powerful and impactful our actions, our words, sometimes our feelings and our emotions can become, but it is so worthwhile to explore that potential that lives within us." Now, meaning, just as potential, is a big term, and it might sound very philosophical or airy or up in the clouds. And Viktor Frankl, an Austrian fellow man, he explored and dedicated his life to explore meaning and what that means, and he surely wanted to empower, and he surely has empowered many people to explore meaning in their lives and how we can do that. And on that journey to a meaningful life, which, by the way, simply emerges and evolves through tiny, meaningful moments in our lives. So it's not that we have to explore meaning somewhere out there or ask the big questions, but we find meaning in our lives. And he dedicated his life exploring how we can do that, and the signposts that he offers are called values, another big term that Christoph will explore together with you now.
I am inspired by Viktor Frankl now for nearly 50 years. I was so lucky to get to know him and hearing him about 20 times. The first time when I was just 16 years old in 1977. And he has so many ideas which are inspiring, which are fulfilling. And we choose one, as Manuela already said, his concept of values. Our world needs values, and our societies need values. And also we personally need values. In different circumstances, in different situations, in political situations, the world is so up and down at the moment. In ecological approaches, we are facing that climate situation, the climate changes. We have to think about new energies we can use. And also in altogether the economic situations, the poor and the rich, and north and south and east and west differences. But it's not just the big concepts, it's also the personal concept. How can we as a person explore values in this chaotic world, in this sympathetic world, in this inspiring world? And Frankl says usually it's not us asking the world, it's the world asking us what is important now, what do we have to do. Values. There are some universal values, Frankl says, but I choose just one or two. Usually the main importance for me in values is respect. We have to be respectful to the world, to nature, to each other, to our traditions. This is one big concept, and the other big concept I think is love. Love, it means how we fulfill our relationships and how we live respect. There are three dimensions in that concept of Viktor Frankl, how he presents values, or how he teaches us that we can think about values. The basic is creational values. I try to simplify it and say creational values is usually that what we do through our day, throughout our lives, throughout our work, just what we create. It's what we eat in the morning, how we teach, how we work, where we go for holidays. It's all creational values. This is the basic. These values, one of the ideas how we can find out what is a creational value, these can fade away. They can be lost, they can be taken away, and Viktor Frankl says that what remains is the experience we made by doing something. So the experiential values are full with emotions. What we feel there, what we experienced. All the aspects we experienced, they are a sort of harvest we bring to our farmhouses, where we can keep them for the times when we cannot do anything more or create anything more. And when we look there, we usually forget to look there. When we look there, we see how rich we are. And we can bring all those emotions, all these memories, the good memories, back into our actual life. The memories like what we experienced with our grandparents, I used to say. Yeah, the grandma does not cook for us anymore, but we can smell, we can taste what we experienced there. And this brings us into, and this is the third level, a new attitude. For example, an attitude of thankfulness, of gratefulness, also an attitude of hope. There are other attitudes, negative ones, like doubt or fear, but we emphasize the positive part of our lives, and we want to develop that. So our attitudes, the attitudes we learned from our doings and from our experiences, the attitudes help us to go through our lives, our next steps, even when we are offended by something, even if we lose something. And all these three together, they are not separate, they are not split. We live them always, in every moment, we live them together. And Manuela called that once, and we try to explain it as a sort of, we call it value dynamics. The dynamics of what is in between, what is happening in between the different values. And I'm so inspired by that word because it reflects also the dynamic part of our spirit, of the spiritual person we are. Viktor Frankl, in his thesis about the person, says the person is dynamic. And dynamic is also dynamite, yeah? Dynamite, you know, it can make something explode. And if the values are on a good basis and we know what it is, what we want to do, what we want to live, we start to explode, and we start not to destroy something with that explosions, but it's like a little plant. When it starts to grow, it has to explode the nutshell or whatever, that it can come out and then grow for a new plant. Now it's on to you to show or to give our audience a little idea how we try to bring that in one part of personal development.
I hope what got across already is our positive attitude, our trust in our ideas and our passion for it. And this is what Frankl calls that these ideas can become contagious. So a logotherapist should be, through his belief in the meaningful basis of our lives, become contagious of others. And we surely are contagious, infected by these ideas. And how we want to live that and bring that to the world is through the concept of value dynamics, as Christoph said. Well, a short personal note. In 2017, the great attitude of love was something that found both of us. We are married, as you could have guessed from our names, a little later, but in 2017, when we fell in love, I thought, well, how can I get to know this beautiful man a little better? And I thought, well, I take the training course with him. I myself am a trained teacher. I'm a researcher. I've been in school for a couple of years, but now I work at the University of Vienna as a researcher as well. And when I did the training together with Christoph, I thought, wow, if only we could bring these ideas to schools. And as a pedagogue, together with Christoph, we developed a tool of what we call positive psychoeducation. How can we help persons, teenagers, teachers, anyone really, to explore these value dynamics a little further? So what we do is we run short workshops where we ask people questions, and I would like to do that and explore that a little with you. When we ask the question for meaning and values in our lives, the core question is, what is important to you right now? What is it that makes you happy? What is it that makes you satisfied? What is it that makes you experience joy in your life? And you can explore these questions for you. Christoph said we look at the positive side, but I would like to include the negative emotions too. Sometimes it's, when are you nervous? When do you get a little afraid? We're not talking about anxiety here, but when do you get afraid of something? Our nervousness, our anxiety can also tell us where some values are at stake. They can become our friends, the experiences, where do I have them, the emotions? Like the middle part of our value dynamics, where the dynamics really meet in the middle, from creation to attitude, are the emotions that tell us immediately if a situation is kind of furthering our meaning or where it's threatened a little. And both dynamics, if we want to explore that from left to right as well, have the positive things when the dynamics becomes easier, and also the negative ones where we experience, okay, here I need to maybe change something or change the situation. So all this is included in the term value dynamics. Now, what is the dynamic behind it, and why is it important? When we ask, especially educationists or parents, but generally in our, at least Western societies, we're very good at saying either what we have, like it's important to me that I feel safe, that I have a flat, maybe for some that I have a car, that I'm beautiful, that I'm healthy, many things that can be lost with the threat, of course, that we lose that part of the meaning in our lives. Now, the dynamic here, and Christoph explored that already, is that the emotions, everything that we experience, and if we sometimes do that consciously, it helps that we keep all these creational values, the things that we've had, that we might have lost and that we still have, that we make this richer in our life by experiencing something with them. So this is the first part of the experience, of the dynamics. And the third part of the dynamics, and the question here would be, what kind of a person do you want to be? If you present yourself to someone and they ask you, who are you? What are the adjectives that you would use to describe yourself? Do you want to be an open person, a trustful person, a hopeful person? Now, the thing is, I sometimes say we might have the sign and say, I'm a respectful teacher, for example. I'm a loving mother. I'm a caring partner. Yes, that's good to know what we are, but they might sometimes be lost up in the air as an orientation. And if we enter the idea of value dynamics, we can say and ask ourselves, well, if I want to be a loving mother, for example, what is it that I do on the creative value level? What is it that I do together with my children, maybe? What do I prepare? How do I prepare myself for a situation? How do I self-care, for example, to be relaxed? Because what is it that I want my children and myself and my family to experience? So with these questions, we enter the level of value dynamics. We hope that we could inspire with some of the ideas, your idea, to trigger you a little how you can explore the meaning dimension in your life. And it's not that you need us for that. We all do that all the time. With our positive approach to psychoeducation, we simply want to empower others to further the dynamics, to not rely on our signpost values or on our creative values, but become rooted, become backed up by all our past experiences and the harvest and the big hypes that are in our barns, to live a full life, to live an empowered life, to become contagious in our positive attitudes, in our hope, in our love, in our care, in our positiveness. Christoph, maybe you want to add before we have a short invitation for you.
I want to give you a modern scientific approach that the neurosciences tell us in the last few years how important emotions are for developing our brain, for our memory, to strengthen our memory. We are learning just with emotions. And so I always say that emotions, or experiential values, as Frankl said, are the glue between doing and attitude, between creational and our attitude, how we do something. So we want to, or I hope we can inspire you a little bit to think over what are the positive experiences you take out of your work, of your life, of your relationships, and if there are a few or too little, then either drop what you are doing or intensify, that you have more positive experiences, and that your attitudes, you all have, otherwise you wouldn't sit there, yeah, or stay there or listen to us. All your positive attitudes can bring more spirit, more value, more meaning to our world, to the future societies we want to create, or we are part of the creation process. So we want to invite you also to another online possibility to meet us. That's
in the pavilion, you will find a QR code that will send you directly to the invitation of an online event that we would like to offer. Christoph and me, together with colleagues that work here at the Sinn Centrum, a center for meaning that we would like to offer here in Salzburg, a platform to meet us and colleagues in a short online workshop together with you for some further inspiration and impulses, but also to meet us directly in breakout sessions and talk to us, ask your questions, bring in your own experiences and enter the dialogue with us. Take a picture of the QR code and join us here. We thank you very much for listening for us. Thank you for having us in Osaka. We wish you all the best and send great greetings from Salzburg. Please come by and meet us.
All the best from Viktor Frankl's country, from the Alps, from the mountains, to the other side of the world. Have a nice day there and enjoy what the others try to tell you there, and when you meet them, logotherapy is a very inspiring approach to our lives. Thank you.
Bye.